clicking it. Hey there, Prez. How are you?
Hey Lisa, how you doing today?
I'm good. I think we are live. We are one
Yeah.
minute late. That's probably my fault. I'm over here dilly-dallying around. Sorry about that. Because I like to be on time. So, how has your week been? Let's give people a minute to come in.
Pretty good. And very uneventful for real.
Mhm.
I've just been doing a lot of studying as the more advanced mechanical moving parts of the market that we so love.
Okay, okay. Um, any trades you want to highlight that you did in any of your morning episodes?
Not in particular. I didn't really do a whole lot of trading this week. I really was focused on other things in my personal life and things of that nature. So I just laid back a little bit. I traded a little bit, but I didn't take any significant trades or anything like that to write
Yeah.
home to mom about.
The spy was pretty much choppy, sideways. What was it doing?
Well, after they released the data, the latter part of the week, we got a nice rally, so I was
Mm,
able to capitalize on that somewhat. Like I said, I traded pretty light, and I was like not in front of the computer, so I was like trading on the go. So when I'm like traveling and I'm trading like that, I tend to trade extra light. Like I only buy like one contract or something like that versus what I would normally buy on a normal trading day. So
okay, okay. You want to do our first station break of the day before we introduce the topic?
okay, so every Sunday at 3 p.m. you can meet us both here, either on my channel or Lisa J Stocks. Be sure to subscribe to us both. As far as my channel, I do go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. And lately, I've been going again on those same days at 3:15 p.m. That's when I do like deeper dives on individual companies and things of that nature. Just give my honest, unbiased opinion as to how well this company is doing and the potential and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And just hit that notification bell for me to see when new content is coming out. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in right now. Who do we have in the chat? We have, I'm not
Yes,
sure.
welcome in everyone.
If
Welcome in
Monarch is
everyone.
still here. Hello, Monarch, Janice, Sweet Melissa. Thank you for sharing
Hello,
this out.
everyone. Thank you for
Um,
all tuning in. Hopefully, everyone hit the like button on your way in. It's very important that you please hit the like button. We need this content to get out to as many people as possible. Got to bring more awareness to personal finance, although it is personal, but I feel as though each and every one of us should take on the responsibility of taking better control of our personal finance.
mhm, mhm. Hello, Trell, Pipeline. It's D, Curvy,
Bankroll,
my newest channel member, VPG. Hello, Tim. Um, oh, Jaleel. Hey there, Jaleel.
Eddie, dividends. I ain't seen you in a while.
Let's see. And Wellness with Frugal Mama. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for chatting. So let's get started. What is the topic of today, Prez?
Today's topic is navigating through the misinformation that we may find on social media as it pertains to investing.
So I think this is something that Prez likes to highlight because he feels that, especially people can be misled and
Yeah.
confused. And whether it's a clickbait title that you might see on a video, or you hear something on the news, or you're talking to somebody at the store or the gym, you have to know what it is all about. You have to do a little bit of research and not just put your trust in that title or that review from that content creator. So no, we're not naming any names, but we're going to go over some that I'm sure you've seen, and um, just talk about how you can navigate it to really make it useful and actionable in a good way in order to truly build wealth and achieve the goals that you are trying to achieve. So, we'll be talking about some clickbait titles like you've seen them: top 5 stocks to buy now, this stock will make you a millionaire, get in early. But we'll get into those. But let's start off by um, just letting you know, whether you're new to investing or you've been investing for years, Prez and I are sharing our experience to hopefully help you in making better decisions. And we share the good and the bad. If we've made mistakes, I want to share my mistakes because all it could do is help you to avoid making the same mistake. And if I feel like I'm really on track with something, same thing. I want you to know, and I don't want to just keep it to myself. I want you to incorporate it into, uh, you know, a good plan for yourself. So let's start off with top 5 stocks to buy now. Prez, what what are you smiling about? Is there something I need to highlight?
I just saw a comment says the market is going to zero.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're betting on the failure of human civilization as we know it, the market will not go to zero.
Okay.
It will only go on sale from time to time, and hopefully you have some cash on hand so that you can buy some good companies for a discount.
All right. So let's start off with the first one. We're going to go through a few examples now. Prez, when you see this title, top 5 stocks to buy now, what do you think? What do you think the common problem is with the content in that video? And what do you think? What points do you think a person needs to consider when they are listening to that top 5 rundown?
From what I see when I do watch those kind of videos, because I do watch the good and the bad content so that I'll know what not to do and how not to title my content and things of that nature. And I learn from the bad and I also learn from the good. So with that being said, when I see titles like that there and I click on the actual video and watch the content, they're speaking more so from a trader side of things versus an investor side of things,
Mm-hmm.
so they could potentially be in and out of this particular company or these top 5 companies, and you're coming in as an investor, with your investor hat on, and you could be potentially becoming their exit liquidity. Like that's something that we don't want to be in this space. We don't want to be someone else's exit liquidity. And that's meaning that you got in and they were already in. And as soon as it run up, they're exiting. But you're presented this false hope that this is going higher and you don't exit. Next thing you know, it comes down and you have no exit plan. Next thing you know, you're left holding the bag or potentially dollar cost averaging into a company that's not even profitable for that matter, or has no more room left to grow, and it's just like a falling knife, basically.
Okay, okay. So what you're saying is that an inexperienced person does not have a clear understanding of what is a trade and what is an investment, and they can essentially get into something with no entry price, no potential exit, no complete plan on what they're going to be doing with this particular quote unquote investment. Can you give an example of something that you've run into or you've seen people kind of presenting as an investment that was truly a trade?
Um, I'm speaking off of my own experience. At one point in time, like SoFi, I was seeing a lot of videos about SoFi and the
Mm-hmm,
potential and things like that, and you would hear rumors of a short squeeze and things of that nature. And being new to the game and not having that type of patience or investing for the long term type of mindset, I found myself, dollar cost average into something like that, and it turned around and really bit me later on down the road, especially once we went into the previous bear market, to where as though I'm end up either holding the bag or have to sell something at a loss or something of that nature, and that's a real eyesore when you're looking at your portfolio, especially during down times in the market like we just went through.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, there's so many. You have to you just can't hear about an investment and think that it's the right thing for you. You have to know your financial situation, your risk tolerance, your timeline, and you have to know, do I know how to use a stop loss? Is this something that I'm adding into my portfolio? And if it drops by a certain amount of money, then that's the max for me. I'm not going to be holding it any longer. So when you hear about something, wherever you're hearing it from, whether it's from a video or a friend or you hear it on the news, yes, exactly, Dee. Your research is vital in making a long-term plan, because we can't just. I'm not someone. I hear people say this sometimes, like I just put $100 into it, and just to see. I don't need to. I can do that virtually. Um, I don't need to put my actual real hard earned money into anything, just to see how it moves, just to see if it does take off. Fine. If it's going up, great. Then maybe I could add more. Maybe I can do some more research. Maybe I can decide, is this truly an investment? But if it's going down, I don't need to lose, even if it is $100. I don't need to lose it just to say I jumped in.
Right.
So have you ever heard anyone say that? Like, oh, I heard something like, I think I mentioned that to you the other day with CrowdStrike, that someone told me their coworker was gonna just, throw some money in there because they just heard the name and knew what was going on in the news. No, not your type of people. But you always say
I
that you
haven't
don't
heard
have
anyone
a
doing
lot of,
anything like that lately,
yeah.
but something I have noticed that I didn't write down in the notes is another clickbaity type of title is Warren Buffett is buying this stock or something of that nature. And it's like I understand he's a very successful investor for the long term and things of that nature, but do you really want to depend on what someone else is doing? It's good to look at their track record and things of that nature, but do you really want to be a follower? What is what I'm saying. I prefer to much rather be a leader. Yeah, I'll take what his decision into consideration, but just because I see a headline and say Warren Buffett just bought this stock doesn't mean that I'm going to necessarily buy it because Warren Buffett bought it.
Yeah. I definitely take it into consideration, and like Kathy Wood, and those people that can really buy those amount of shares, that it's
Right.
very significant. Um, you can real it's not the guy at the gym that we have no idea how much he's even putting into it,
Hmm.
so I do take a little bit of interest in seeing the activity and the changes that they make into their portfolio. But no, not I don't have to do everything that they do either,
The first thing that
personal.
comes to my mind is exit liquidity.
Mhm,
If you hear Warren Buffett has a quote like the stock market is simply a vehicle, a tool used to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient, it's like it's no friends when it comes to these markets. It's no friends. He's trying to take money out of someone else's pocket, possibly yours. So
mhm.
that's another thing that throws up a red flag when I see titles like that, like, hold up. Why is he all of a sudden disclosing that he's buying this company? Is it that he wants attention to this company to bring more volume so that
Mhm.
they can drive up the share price because everybody wants to be like Warren Buffett? You understand what I'm saying?
But
So next
he
thing you know,
Mhm.
he sells a significant portion and someone's left holding the bag.
Yeah. But he has to share what, those large transactions
Exactly.
that he does. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have to share if we add some obscure thing into our portfolio, or we drop something, we don't have to share. But, with them, it's something that people take interest in.
Yeah,
So, um, let's go on to another title that you gave as an example. These stocks will make you millions. So, what do you think when you hear that?
it all goes to I look at the actual motive of the content creator when I click on videos like this. Like, okay, is he are they selling something or are they we got to use extra liquidity back into the mix once again? Are they trying to bring attention to this particular company because it hasn't had much volume lately and they potentially thinking about taking a trade or already or in a trade, a swing trade or something of that nature? Or they could be just looking at it from a trader's mindset once again, trying to gain more views, or because they know this topic, people will click on it. Because from the outside looking in, if you're not currently investing or anything like that, you want your money, you want to be rich overnight. That's what everyone's desire is, to become rich overnight, until you learn how compound interest work, and until you learn how money actually works, versus you want your money and you want it now, like JG Wentworth, like that slogan says.
Mm-hmm. I'm not, yeah, I'm familiar with that. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with that old commercial. Um, but yeah, I think discipline investing over time, you know, many of us will never get to millionaire status, or we may not have a goal of having, 500,000 or $800,000 invested for retirement. Like you said, personal finance, everyone has to set their own goals, but I think that we should just focus on disciplined investing over time, and not necessarily just jumping on board with everything and chasing what you think is the next big thing. So, all right, these cryptocurrencies will outperform Bitcoin.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Do you think that that exists in the long term at all?
I really, as of right now, today, if I was to answer that today, I would say no, no, and no again. Because if you look at the charts of a lot of these projects, especially the ones that have been around for a few years, none of them has made new all-time highs throughout, from cycle to cycle. There's like, you just look at the overall chart of it, and it's like a falling knife basically, and you're just dollar cost averaging into a hope and a prayer and hype. And I've been there. Luckily, I caught on quick, and I was able to, get my head on straight, versus having the mindset of the JG Wentworth mindset. I'm gonna use that as an analogy since we throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it all falls down to that. You really got to have patience in this space. Like, don't let these type of titles swindle you into dollar cost averaging into something that's not really going to perform well in the long run.
Yeah, yeah, and especially when it comes to crypto, you really have to know whether it's crypto options. You really have sometimes a very small window to navigate, you know, a
Hmm.
trade. So with that, it takes skill, it takes timing, it takes skill, and there's nothing wrong if you feel that I am busy, I don't know how to do that, or um, this is not, I don't have the mindset for it. I just got an alert. I'm not sure what it was. I think it was DAR. Crypto went up
Hmm.
like 50%. So, I can't let that bother me, because did I know that that was going to occur? Do I have a
No.
platform ready? Do I have enough money that I was willing to put behind that, and catch that exact movement, because it could be a very short time frame. But cryptocurrency especially is a very high volatility, um, and you can get burned easily. So any more thoughts on those type of things when it comes to crypto?
Yes, I must stress the fact that it's a high probability that if you don't know what you're doing in the crypto space, you will get wrecked. You will get wrecked. You will be looking at losses that you're not prepared to deal with, that you don't have the stomach for. That's why I always say, realize what you're willing to lose. Come up with your exit plan before you even enter. That way, if it doesn't go your way, you already know what's the next step. You already, if this then that, you already know how to navigate. You already know how much you're willing to lose. You already know all of these things, versus just blindly throwing your money. It's like lighting your money on fire. You might as well just do that. You make out better just lighting your money on fire if you're investing into something that's actually a trade, and you're just blindly dollar cost averaging into it, and it's just going slowly down. It's just slowly bleeding out.
Hmm. Hmm. I found that crypto that I was mentioning. I'll show it for a quick second. So this is it here. DAR. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Um, But yeah, the whole, this is what time? This is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Oh,
had,
Minds of Darlena. That's the name of it. I've never
yeah,
heard of that either. It
yes.
could be a potential. It sounds like a gaming token.
Mm,
That's what it sounds like to me. Some sort of gaming token, like the one Gods Unchained. That's an actual gaming token.
yeah. But like I said, am I frozen? Yeah, I
You
think
were,
I'm
yeah.
glitching a little bit. Let me know if you can hear me clearly.
I
Um,
hear you.
but yeah, these things going on is just, uh, if the opportunity arises, yes, I will get into a trade, but I'm always going to stay consistent with investing into my ETFs and doing that. So I don't know. I seem to be having a little trouble with my Wi-Fi today. Am I still breaking up,
Uh-oh.
or is it just the videos is a little frozen?
It seemed like it's adjusted. It's straightened itself out from what I see on
Okay.
my end.
All right. So
It's not me for a
this
change, y'all.
all right. So another couple. This stock has crazy growth potential. Get in early, those type of things. So any thoughts on those? Where do you think people can go wrong when they're hearing these?
Not having patience, not not having patience, one, back to the JG Wentworth mentality. Um, then I got to go back to you potentially becoming that person's exit liquidity for two. It all ties into those main two concepts. It's like you can't let these. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say it without sounding like I'm talking in circles. You can't let these type of titles mislead you. You gotta actually take the time and listen to the messages in its entirety and use your better judgment as to how you would like to navigate this particular asset or stock or crypto for that matter. Already
Hmm.
know your plan. You gotta That's when you start coming up with your plan. It could be some potential good information that's delivered to you. You just have to approach it with the right mindset. You have to be able to comprehend it and take your time. Sometimes you might have to listen to that message more than once so that you can fully digest that message that's trying to be relayed to you.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so Tim just mentioned getting into a stock at an all-time high. I think that's another thing that people need to factor. Like you say that people are not. You could be watching a video and then not have the full picture of, like I said, the entry. Is this something that they're having a stop loss on? What price point did they invest? Like we need to know all of the their strategy in getting into the investment and what fundamentals they took a look at before choosing them. So, do you think that, definitely on your channel, that you're giving the knowledge and the detail that we are, kind of criticizing others for not giving?
I try my best to. I try my
Mhm.
very best to. And I also explain what I would do versus saying this isn't financial advice or something like that. I'm just simply stating how I would look at my personal views and from a very unbiased standpoint. That's why I always say, like, for example, a company that's not profitable and somebody asks me to give my honest opinion, I would say if you must hold this long term because you are the one that makes the final decision at the end of the day, regardless of what I say. For example, let's use Palantir as an example. Like, I just had to have it, although I was hearing other people say it's not a long term investment or things of that nature. Okay, so after doing my own research, I'm like, yeah, it's not really a long term investment, but it could potentially become a long term investment. Okay, I'm only willing to invest 1% of my entire portfolio. That way, if I'm wrong and everyone else was right, my
Mhm.
losses are minimum. It's like it's okay to make a bad decision. You just got to realize how much you're willing to risk if that decision end up being a bad decision.
Yeah, I think when it comes to my portfolio, I think I'm more conservative with you, that how you have your 5 levels. I
Hmm.
think I'm kind of a maybe a level 1, level 2 kind of a person, and I don't even get to those that I build those smaller positions into. Um, I do see on my my security app that people are talking about power outages in my area, guys. So just in case anything happens, please know there's some weather. I think the weather's from these hurricanes has has come up north. So I'm not sure what remnants I might be experiencing right now, but I think it might be a part of the issue. But if the power goes out,
Your audio was fine. You're just glitching here and there, but your
I'm just
audio was fine.
glitching. Should I
Yeah,
turn
but
the
your
camera
audio
off,
is perfect.
or do you think it's not too bad to have to look at?
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay.
Y'all just
All
deal
right.
with it. Just bear with us. Y'all seen me go through it, so don't give her a hard time like y'all did me. To my, Lisa is sick of Prez's internet connection.
Okay.
I remember,
Okay.
I ain't forget, but I love y'all though.
Oh, Prez and his feelings. Um, okay. All right. So did we touch on enough of those titles? Buy this stock now and never work again. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. What any more thoughts
Oh my
on
goodness. I
how
seen
to
one.
better
I just seen one last night.
mhm.
I'm not gonna put the content creator's name on blast or anything like that, but he said how my investments bought me this Cybertruck. I was just like, oh my goodness, come
Oh, I
on. It
know
had a
who that
picture,
is. I know who
had a
that
picture.
is.
I was like, oh my goodness, man. Like if somebody's
I
new
saw.
coming into this space, they're gonna have that type of mind. They're gonna want that. It's like you're dangling a carrot in front of a horse to get them to move faster. It's like you can't do that to people, especially when they're new in this space. They'll tend to make high risk decisions, or they don't even know what they're doing yet, and they get that
Mhm,
JG Wentworth mentality. Like, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. I get my taxes on the eighth, and throw all their money in the AMC, and then just slowly bleeds out.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think an element to that particular video too that you were talking about, that person does covered calls. I know it's probably do you think that that is something that in time, if you had the position, would you explore doing that, or would you stick to regular options as opposed to those type of options, even if you had the 100 shares of Google or Apple, or would do you think you would do it, or do you think you would just stick to regular options on the SPY QQQ, what you've been doing?
I know I would do it. I would gladly incorporate that strategy into play in a
You,
separate portfolio though. It wouldn't be my
okay.
long-term portfolio. It wouldn't be the YouTube portfolio. It would be a whole different portfolio with maybe five different companies or something like that. A small amount of positions inside of there so that I'm able to accumulate more than 100 shares in each position. And yeah, yeah, but it will be a whole separate portfolio that I would be doing that in, where I'm just buying the stocks and making profit off of collecting premium and letting theta decay work in my favor and things of that nature. It's an excellent strategy. You just need a large amount of capital to implement that strategy into your trading regimen, into your toolbox. So in the meantime, I'll play on the opposite side of things until I'm able to build up a particular account for that reason. But yeah, that's the goal, to get into that side of options. The I own the shares now. I'm gonna make some profit not only off of the shares, but I'm gonna also collect premium as well.
Okay, okay. So Stock Talk David said he's there already doing covered calls. I think he said recently he's almost to 100 shares on Apple. I'm not sure what positions in his portfolio that he has shared that are over the 100. But in my taxable accounts, yeah, I'm not there on any of my on besides realty income. I'm not there on anything with the 100 shares. In retirement, yes, but I don't share all of that, and I won't be doing. I don't do any trades. I don't have an IRA that I do trades in, or something like that, the way that you've been doing.
Hmm.
But it is something to explore, because I know you always say that it gives you uh, you know tax-free growth on the trades. So
Right.
okay, so David shared that he has over 100 shares on Google and Amazon. So
That
yeah,
is awesome.
right. I
And
know.
for the record, speaking on the Roth IRA that I trade out of, I
Mhm.
maxed that out the very first year. I maxed that particular account out first before I started investing into long term into a regular Roth IRA where I just buying whole stocks. But I was that's
Uh,
just I actually it was actually an accident, but it ended up turning out.
do you see the trust? Do you
Wow.
see who's in the trap?
Wow. All right, I haven't been a totally 100% honest. I do currently hold 100 shares of Berkshire A, y'all. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hi, Keenan. How are you? Thanks for stopping in.
but yes,
Appreciate you.
the Roth IRA trading account was actually an accident. Like that was like one of the first trading accounts that I opened. I didn't know what I was clicking at the time, and I
Mhm.
started trading out of it and started growing it. And then I said, hold up. Once I really learned what I was doing, I'm like, hold up, can I open up another one? So I did a little bit of research and said, yeah, you just got to make sure if you want to max them out, you can't max both of them out. You can only max out one or the other, or divide that maximum amount that you can put into one. You got to divide that by however many Roth IRA accounts that you have. So from that point on, I just max out the one that I'm buying and holding stocks in, and let the one that's just cash. I just grow that over time slowly. I be smart about it. I make sure I buy contracts that are dated out, so I have time. I don't really have to babysit them and things of that nature.
Yeah. So I got a question here. How do you max out a Roth IRA?
You just simply put in the maximum amount of capital that they allow. I believe it's
7,000?
6,500,
7,000. I think they're able
7,000.
to. Yeah.
It was 65 at one point. I believe
Yeah. Yeah. I
they
think
increased the
that's a
limit.
recent
Yeah.
change. Okay. So I know last week I felt like I wasn't staying on our topic. So, what else do you want to just touch on talking about avoiding falling for clickbait and misinformation? What other misinformation is out there? Did we cover everything? Um, just where do you think that people are just the unrealistic expectations? Where are they going wrong with it? You think it's mostly that they want that fast money, they want the quick return, so they fall for it because just for the hope in the hopes that it's going to work out more quickly than if they went with something basic like the VTI.
Lack of patience. Lack of patience. That's the main number one factor that I've noticed, even with myself when I first started out. Lack of patience. It could be your current financial situation. You could be don't like your job, or your boss is treating you unfairly or something like that, your current financial situation. But the way I look at it now is like short-term pain for, I mean, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. So it may be tough now, but I know if I stay the course, eventually it's gonna work out in my favor as long as I stay the course and try to be creative about how I come up with my streams of income, whether it be my regular 9 to 5 job, a side hustle, and starting a YouTube channel. It doesn't necessarily have to be about finance. It's just so I'm so fascinated about it. As I learn and I grow, I share my journey with my audience. So that was my idea. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to be mindful of those type of things and learn to be patient about it. It's not going to happen overnight. At the end of the day, learn how to play around with that investment calculator and set goals. Once you set goals and write it down on a piece of paper and you're constantly looking at it, like I look at my short-term goals versus my long-term goals every day. Like even sometimes while I'm streaming live, I got it on a little sticky note. I got to achieve this goal by this week, or try to achieve this goal by next week, and things of that nature. Take baby steps. Once you map out your entire plan, you just take baby steps to achieve that ultimate goal.
I think a lot of people get discouraged and give up because they're not seeing the growth fast enough. So um, for me, I'm really glad that I have been able to stay consistent. And in time, I'm telling you, if you put good, sound investments into your portfolio in time, you won't feel like the last like we went through a couple weeks ago when like the tech stocks were really pulling back and um, obviously it did pull back. The percentages that I saw it in my portfolio on the day, but overall, it's not like my portfolio was going red because I've been consistent in building out these positions for a few years now. So, um, because I see the big picture and I see the potential, and I know that what I've added into my portfolio are things that I want to hold for the long term. So, yeah, setting goals is definitely once you set the goal, you have to just stick to it. And like Dee is saying here, it can be a game changer.
Yes, most definitely. Most
I know you're
definitely.
not really. So do you, when do you, I think that I'm just in a place where I'm still building. So I don't really have an end goal, whether it's a dollar amount or a share size amount on many of my positions. I'm just in a place where I'm keeping going. Do you have like, do you have a goal that you're trying to get to in certain portfolios? Like, for example, say if there's one that's, I'm not even gonna say a dollar amount. Do you have goals that like that? Is it usually that you try to hit share size goals, dollar amount goals, or are you just in a place of building like me?
I'm in a place of building with the end goal is for my grandchildren to never have to work nowhere near as hard as I did, to never have to struggle nowhere as near as hard as I did. I can't say my children because they're almost grown. I do have two that are already grown. So it's kind of bit I'm already playing catch up with myself. It may be too late for myself to achieve millionaire status, but the least I can do is instill in them the knowledge so that they can carry on my legacy after I'm long gone. So they'll already have the knowledge in their head and they'll already know what to do once they reach the age of majority and they're bringing in their own income. They won't have to worry about working as hard. Hopefully, if everything goes as planned and I can continue to stay in their ear and build that relationship with them so that they start taking interest into the market and investing and being in control of their personal finance, because it just not might not be no social security for them when they reach that age of retirement. I'm speaking about my grandchildren. Well, I only have one now, but I know in time I will probably have more.
So, your oldest children, how are they with investing? What is their thought process on it? Are they like, and compared to where you're at with your investing knowledge and options and things like that, where would you put them?
They're more so waiting for me to prove it to them. That's what I see. That's
Mm,
the message that I get from them. It's like, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. And then there won't be no follow through with it. You understand what I'm saying? I believe that they're waiting for me to prove it to them that this works. And then there'll be as well as my other family members as well. Like it's gonna take for me to become successful at this and for me to show that to them for them to jump on board. I believe it's a bit of fear of your own self or fear of failing and things of that nature. But you
mhm,
gotta fail, you gotta fail and keep trying sometimes in life in general, whether it's a fight in the street or something like that. If you get knocked down, you got to get back up, to protect yourself. And that goes for anything in life. If it knocks you down, you got to get back up swinging.
mhm. So, when saying that, do you think that they are letting the opportunity pass them by, like they could be maximizing their employer contribution or contributing more, but that, like you said, they're still trying to just take it slow?
Right.
They
And
are?
still
Okay.
trying to figure out who they are as adults as well, because
Mhm,
I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself when I was in my 20s. I was too busy looking for the party. You understand what I'm saying? So
mhm,
I understand how that can be. Like you can't force a child to know what they want to do in life once they reach the age of 18. They don't know who they are yet. They're so used to being who you raised them to be. They haven't taken the time to figure out who they are as a person just yet.
okay, okay. And having that banner running. All right, so let's see what time it is. I think the Wi-Fi started acting a little better. I haven't been freezing up anymore, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what else did you want to touch on in the topic? Is there anything, any earnings reports or anything exciting that you had on your radar for the upcoming week?
This week it seems to be very uneventful. I haven't looked at the economic calendar just yet, but I took a brief skim through the companies that are reporting earnings this upcoming weekend. It wasn't nothing that I was really interested in. A lot of the companies that I saw on the list, I didn't even recognize, or I've only heard of once or twice and cared nothing about them.
Mhm. Mhm.
My first goal was 125 shares, then 500, then 1,000, then 10,000 per company. No more than 5 companies in my portfolio, and that's okay. I do have a portfolio where it's only 5 companies. Well, it's actually four and one ETF, but it's pretty much structured the same way as you see my YouTube portfolio with 20 companies. It's still allocated similar, very similar.
Okay. Okay. So, um, any particular stocks or anything that you want to talk about more in depth? So, what is your thought about people investing into crypto? And do you think that I know you said that your first investment was crypto? Do
Yes,
you
it was Bitcoin, and
Bitcoin?
I was buying it at the all-time highs.
And
Believe it or
yeah,
not, I was buying it at its
I
previous
did
all-time
too.
highs. I was buying it, and it was a real. It took a lot of discipline and taking the time to understand what it is and how it works and why it was created and things of that nature, for me to give it a chance and not sell at a loss. It took a real lot of it took a whole lot of discipline, but all of my other crypto projects that I was just lighting money on fire, throwing it into, I can't say the same about those. I was cutting my losses eventually, especially once the whole FTX fiasco happened. I'm like, well, I don't want to watch my whole portfolio go to zero because I started hearing the I started hearing the saying that a majority of these crypto projects will go to zero. So I really started evaluating my own way of thinking. Like, do I actually understand what this project is for? No. Okay, cut your loss.
Mhm.
That's what it all boiled down to. What would you do if this was to fall 30 more percent? Uh, I don't know. Well, cut your losses now. That's when I really had to go through each of the individual project that I was basically lighting my money on fire, just throwing it into, call myself dollar cost averaging because it limits your volatility and you get the best price and things of that nature. But I was actually dollar cost averaging into falling knives, looking back on it in hindsight. Like none of those
I've done it
projects
too. I've done it
other
too.
other than Dogecoin has put in a new all-time high since the previous all-time highs. It's like maybe one or two others that I don't know right off the top of my head.
Yeah. I was trying to like average down into charge point, and I've had those mistakes that I've made, and it's I don't
Hmm.
try to keep everything, it's the truth. We made some mistakes, but thankfully those mistakes were, for me, well outweighed by Apple and Google and Amazon and the sound investments, even Tesla. I'm glad that I was at the same time incorporating those things into my portfolio and not just the hype stocks and those things that did not work out well. I have much higher percentages into the things that I'll be holding for years to come.
Hmm.
So Churches is asking the portfolio that you have five in. What are the five? Do you know offhand? Can you run through that?
Let me see. VTI is at 60%. Then it's Apple, that's at about 20%. Then Realty Income is about 10%, I believe. And what else is in there? Coca-Cola and Home Depot. Did I
Okay.
say 5 or 4? Something like that. I gotta look.
Hmm. I have a five investment portfolio also that I could
Okay.
quickly share, and that one has it has VCI and VOO in it. Yes, it does. I'm okay with that. Um, and it has Home Depot, Apple, and Tesla. But the higher percentage, 80%, is into the ETFs, and then smaller percentages into those three stocks right now. So,
Yes, it's VTI, Apple, Realty Income, Coca-Cola, and Home Depot. Those are the 5 that are in that portfolio. And that's like one of my main portfolios that I don't plan on ever selling. And they all pay a dividend. Apple is a small dividend, but it still pays a dividend.
So I think Shannon's trying to give us a reminder to invest your money. I never thought that this was a concern, but I've heard several people say it. And have you ever heard anyone share? I know you might have heard this from Shalise at least, that people put the money into the investment account and didn't invest the money. Have you ever heard this?
I've heard it from other content creators, but I've never heard anyone say it to me per
Okay.
se. But I do know of a lot of people that don't even look into what their company match is and things of that nature. They just have money going into it, but they don't know where it's
They
going
don't,
because
yeah.
once they go into that app, they don't know what it is they're looking at. I'm
Hmm.
even guilty of that in a lot of my previous jobs. I'm contributing to a 401k that I had no clue where the money was going,
I'm
and
definitely,
would have to
definitely,
actually look back at a lot of these previous jobs to see if I still have any money available there, which I don't because I've already looked. But yeah, if you don't know what you're looking at and know where your money is going, then you have no clue.
yeah, yeah. So Sweet Thumb is saying they invested into Bitcoin at 32. When we say it high, we being in the 60s, right, Press?
Yeah, it was in the
Yes.
60s, 50s, 60s, around that range,
Yeah.
around the price it is now.
Ken, it's okay.
Yeah, it's
You're
okay.
late. You're
We
late,
got
but
replay.
yes, we do. And next week, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, if you want to actually see us live. Um,
I'm
so
sure everyone has Bluetooth in their car stereo system now, so you could just always just turn that music off. They really not talking about nothing, not none of the up to date music, and just listen to us on your
mhm.
drive home.
So yeah, I was saying I agree with you that there was many years where I was contributing to my 401k. Was I taking the time to check on the performance, the fees? And yeah, I wasn't in tune with that. I was always contributing though, but I wasn't digging into the details. But thankfully, in recent years, especially whenever they would come to visit, or if there was an opportunity, a representative would come into the office, I would
Hmm.
make sure to go to those meetings and get a better understanding and really dig into it, because yeah, especially the last few years, once I knew that I want to make sure that I am on track with my retirement goals. I had to figure out what is my goal and know that I am trying my hardest, because I do not want to be working and unprepared at 67, 70 years old. You see people still trying to work and trying to make
Hmm.
ends meet and needing aid. So, and then another thing that I see is I have some people that have said to me, well, I work at whatever company, I work at whatever university, like as though they work in a job that they don't need to check on their 401k. They work at a reputable whatever, and
Hmm.
they don't need to check on the performance, as though they feel 100% confident that they are being led in the right direction. And I'm like, it's not like that. You have to realize that the only person that is really trying to advocate for you is yourself. And
Hmm.
whether it's a medical issue, financial issue, you got to realize that some people, I have to be there. If something is going on with someone, I have to look at the details and I have to know that I agree with it. I can't trust someone else is going to have my interests, my best interests at heart. And when it comes to financial things, there's an opportunity there to add in fees and really prioritize making money for themselves instead of prioritizing uh, building up my portfolio. So
Hmm.
this is why we see, why are there people in investments that are 0.9%, 1%, when there's an option, a similar option that's 0.03 or 0.06. Why are people put into options put into investments that have higher expense ratios. Why is this occurring? Because there must be an element to wanting to make more fees and generate more income for the brokerage company. What is your thoughts on that?
There's a thought that just popped in my head just now. And that goes to how I feel about corporations. As we all know, this world is pretty much run by large corporations. Now, a lot of us work for these large corporations. I want you all to think about how much money you actually make for your employer, and how much do you feel like you're getting paid fairly? And you're probably not. You probably could use a raise. We all could use a raise, right? But
Mhm.
how they show their appreciation for us, they give us pizza. They give us pizza. Meanwhile, they're making billions off of us or millions off of us, and we don't get the raise. We don't get lower costs for our healthcare benefits package or anything like that. All we get is pizza. So since they're using us as pawns, we got to learn to use them as pawns. It's chess at the end of the day. It's us against the corporation. So we got to learn how to capitalize off of every penny we can get out of them, because they're gonna squeeze all of the juice out of us until we're too old to even work, and then we're just waiting for a check from the government that's ran by the corporations.
Yes, yes. So a brother of a certain age is saying that he's guilty of being in the same boat that we're talking about here, not checking the quarterly statements, not having an understanding of the investments as well as the expense ratios. I feel like they're really gouging us with fees and expense ratios when it's for us to advocate for ourselves, to get out there and find out if there is a, a, a different option that does not entail us losing any of our money. I want all the money for myself, or as much as possible, going into
I see
staying away.
everybody laughing about the pizza, but I can't laugh at it because I look at it like a slap in the face. Like, this is
Oh,
what I'm worth.
a
It's
pen and
not
a
even
donut.
pens and donuts. This is all I'm worth.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I've been here on time for how many years? I haven't been late. I haven't been calling out. I got good attendance. I'm a good worker. I do overtime when it's mandated. You forced me to stay here longer than, because all of the work didn't get done, and all I get is some pizza, and it's not even Domino's or Papa John's. It came from the mom and pop shop down the street.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing us out, Charlene. Um, yeah, another little perk that I've seen people talk about is, they'll give you like an extra little, maybe a little half a day off around the holidays or something. It'll be like around Christmas or something. You guys could leave an hour, a couple hours early and,
Two
not be.
tickets to Six Flags, but you got a family of four.
Oh, wow. But this is why we invest. This is why we're working to depend on ourselves for whatever we need financially.
They said don't hate on a company gifted T-shirt. Man, I remember one company I worked for. They gave us a jacket, and it had our names embroidered across the chest. Like I
Mhm.
wouldn't even wear that.
We're to work. That's all you're
No
gonna do.
way. I think I ended up laying that jacket on the ground one day. I was changing my brakes on my Jeep.
Oh,
That's how I felt about that jacket.
ew, my goodness. All right, all right, all right. So we don't have a secondary. What else? What else, Prez? What else was on your mind this week?
I think I summed it all up. I mean, I
Yeah.
did have more written down on my notes, but I've already covered it all, countering all of these different titles that I mentioned. Like, you got to have patience at the end of the day. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't care what the title says or how the thumbnail looked. Like, that person could have been potentially in this space long before you even seen that video, or long even before they started a YouTube channel for that matter. They're already potentially well off, or they're getting so many views on those type of titles to where as though they're monetized, and they're getting that extra income because impatient people like us are looking at that content, and we're trying to follow it or mimic it, or we're getting the wrong message out of it at the end of the day. And they're
Mhm.
banking off about ignorance at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And on today's topic, something I really, you have to pay attention to the date of the recording of the video. But one element that I really enjoy about Keenan's videos is that he gives us that breakdown, gives us the trident with the price levels. So
Exactly.
that, that he's really painting the full picture on how to navigate an investment, um, or trade if you're going to get into it. And I think that's that basically a big point that you wanted to make with the clickbait and the misinformation. You might just be getting, the headline, you're getting the
Hmm.
the stock, but then what do you do? Do you like somebody, I think it was Tim was saying earlier, then what, you see it, you hear about it, and then here you go jumping in at all-time highs
Hmm.
when you, maybe you didn't have the right plan. But I do really enjoy that about Keenan's videos, is that
And he also will state if he personally considers it a long term investment or a
mhm,
trade, which is very important because
yes.
you might see the title and not even listen to the message. You only watched half of the video. You didn't even watch it to the end, and you missed all of the valuable points that was given, if there were any given. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't even take that time. You just thought, well, I got this $1,000, or I'm about to get this lump sum of money, so let me try to flip it real quick. And it doesn't work like that. Although it's possible if you know what you're doing.
Mhm, mhm. um And what was I saying to you before we came on live? I was saying, oh, another element. I was saying that sometimes within misinformation is that some people might be new to our channels and not know our entire journey, and I feel like sometimes I've been kind of criticized for uh, as though my $10 challenges or $5 challenges, as though that's not real investing. I have been working since I've been 19 years old, been working full time. I have a 401k. I have IRAs that have been created from previous companies that I've worked at. So, in addition to that, um, I have real estate. I have a rental property. I have assets, and after all those things were established, I then wanted to create some additional portfolios for early retirement that I can tap into now. I created an account for my daughter. I created more than one account. She has a Fidelity Youth account and a UTMA account. So, you might just catch one video or might hear me talking about I invest $10 into VTI, but that's not the whole picture. And
Right.
it's up to us what we've decided to share on our channel, because neither one of us have done a full what do you call it, like a full net worth video detailing every
And I won't.
investment.
I
and,
don't
and
feel
yeah,
it's
I'm
that's
not there yet.
anybody's business at the end of the day. You still got
Mhm,
evil people in this world, and somebody could easily follow me somewhere and they see me in person and take my phone and understand what I'm saying. Next thing you know, they have access to everything. Nah, or not that extreme. You get that one person you haven't heard from in I don't know how long, whether it be a family member, close friend, so-called close friend, associate, and they have all of a sudden have an emergency, and they're playing on your good heart intentions, or the fact that you two have a good relationship with each other, that you're gonna help them out, and just because they know you got it. Nah, mm-mm.
yeah, yeah. So someone was asking in the chat, who is Keenan. I dropped his channel in the I dropped the channel link in my chat on my side. I'm not sure if the person, I know someone said, oh, the person was on your side,
Yeah.
Keenan. So I mean on Prez. So if you could direct him to it, I'm sorry. But
So it's not anyone's business. Right, it's not. And the main reason why I started sharing the YouTube portfolio was to show people that you don't need a whole lot of money to invest. As long as you stay consistent with whatever amount that you're able to invest regularly, then you will see results in the long run.
mhm. Thank you for the super chat, Sweet Thumb. I appreciate that.
$10 is real investing. That can be a great way to start and build up over time. My main thing, I'm demonstrating to you how being consistent with just a small amount can be habit forming. Next thing you know, you're holding me accountable to this one particular portfolio. So yeah, it's working for me. Exactly, it's working for me because my audience is now looking for week 31. They're looking for week 32. Each week they're giving me more and more encouragement to keep going because now they're looking for it. So I know in my mind I got to stay consistent with this because people, not only am I looking for gain, but other people are cheering me on as well, and they're saying that it's consistent, and hopefully that inspires them to even get started. That's what I want, more people to just get started.
Mhm. So Yvette is asking if we trade options in the Roth IRA. I do not. I primarily trade options from my Webull account. I don't do any trading out of my retirement account. But
I personally have a separate account. It's just all cash. That's how I started it off. I was saying it early in the show. It happened by accident, and after doing research, I'm like, I might as well keep it this way and just open up a whole new Roth IRA account and just buy stocks. So yes, I do have I currently have one Roth IRA with just cash that I trade out of. It's just cash. I'm not holding any stocks there or anything like that. I just simply trade options out of, and plans to grow this account over time, and when I reach that age of retirement, I got tax-free money right there. Now, my other Roth IRA account, where it's just stocks, I try my best to max that out every year because that's the only one I'm focused on, is building that one over time. Long-term investing is safer than trading. I can easily not grow this account that's just cash. So it's the long-term gain will always beat the short-term gain in the long run. Ain't nothing worse than blowing an account.
mhm.
I don't want that for you. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I have, and it sucks.
Yeah, and as far as my smaller portfolios that I've been building from challenges that I started, I'm glad that I became a part of these challenges.
Mhm,
Because yes, I've been contributing to my 401k, but going into these challenges, buying one share of realty income every week, or doing the $10 a day into VTI, it really has. I probably was not going to increase my 401k at the rate that I have, to have the same amount of investments, additional investments that I now have that I can tap into in early retirement. So I'm glad that I created my additional taxable accounts and that I have additional money invested, not just sitting at the bank at some lousy rate. So
mhm,
um, I just don't like the narrative or the haters making comments saying that investing $20 on Acorn or investing on a Cash App, or I don't personally use those platforms for investing, but it is truly investing. You are truly getting
yeah,
into the stock market. And even if it's a small amount, I would rather see anyone invest a small amount than to invest zero, because you invest zero, what are you going to have at the end? Nothing. You invest a small amount, just stick with it. I think the biggest thing is consistency. You can get
mhm,
consistency with a small amount. I am proud of whatever you can achieve in that way.
exactly.
So,
Exactly. Or you could not be fortunate enough to have a career type of job. You could be working in between dead end jobs. You could be currently working at a temp agency, which a lot of people who are currently watching probably are working through a temp job or something like that. Like, it's not getting no better out here in the workforce. It's only getting worse, to where as though it's either you're going to take on all of this high interest student debt and go into a career field that's probably highly saturated with workers that's not even from this country for that matter,
mhm.
or you're going to work these dead end, low end jobs, warehouse jobs and fast food jobs, and gig work and things of that nature, to where as though if you're just working in the gig economy, you don't have no 401k. You're just solely responsible for the well-being of your retirement goals and things of that nature. So everybody's story is different at the end of the day. So you got to do what works best for you. But I would encourage you to take better control of your personal finance, especially the younger you taking care of the future you, because you're not going to be young forever. You're not getting no younger either.
Mhm. So yeah, there's this one question here about, can we comment on Warren Buffett's sale of Apple? Whether it's Warren Buffett's sale of Apple or, I can't think of his name off the top. I can't think of his name, but whether it's a large sale of Apple stock, Nvidia stock, um, I don't let that discourage me and feel like I've made a poor decision in adding those particular positions into my portfolio, because, yeah, I'm a small, quote unquote, retail investor. They have, you know, I don't know what their position size is into it. If they're ready to take profit, they're not even selling their entire position. It may sound substantial to you, but in the grand scheme of what they actually own, it probably still is a relatively small percentage. So if they're ready to move on to another investment with a portion of their portfolio, um, I don't let that discourage me or take that as a sign that there's any issue with Apple or Nvidia as a long-term investment for us, the regular retail investors, into those companies. You want to talk a little bit about that, Prez?
When I hear stuff like that, I'd be like, ain't he like 102 years old? I mean, no disrespect to him, but he's been in the investment space since he was in his 20s, I believe, maybe sooner than that. If
Mhm.
if I'm correct, if I'm guessing right, he's been in the game all his life, so he's a multi-billionaire. You think he's not going to take profit? Like, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with taking profit sooner or later. Now he has a very substantial amount of that company, to where as though he has to fully disclose when he makes moves. So it doesn't scare me at all. Okay, lower the price down so I can accumulate some more, because I'm not 102 years old. I'm only 45. So I don't have nowhere near as much as you have, and I'm trying to get there. So if you wasn't patient enough to hold on to it a little while longer, and you help the price come down low enough so I can accumulate a lot more, then so be it. I don't care. Don't bother me. It's not going to shake me out of my position, because I know how to research these individual companies and assess how I want to move and how I want to be exposed to these companies.
Yeah. So I'm looking at one headline here. It says that he sold 510 million Apple shares. So, this is what I meant when I said you have to know the big picture. Uh, Out of how many that the was currently in the portfolio, I'm not sure, because like I just pulled this up a second ago. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that it's anything that discourages me on these long-term companies being in my portfolio. I believe in the long-term growth potential of both Apple and Nvidia, for example. So
Another thing I want to comment on that is, we just watched the market run. If you were here before, during the previous bear cycle, this market just went on fire just out of nowhere. It ran up really high, really fast, to the point where even I was saying in a lot of my live streams, the market needs to come down some. It's too hot right now. It needs to cool off some. And that's around the time when he sold a significant amount of his Apple shares. And what did he do with that profit? He bought some treasury bonds, a lot of treasury bonds. Now I believe he owns more treasury bonds than the Federal Reserve itself. So you got to look at the whole picture as to why these billionaires and millionaires are making moves like they do. They have enough capital to where as though they're able to take a nice profit and put it into bonds and things of that nature, and
mhm.
take that little bit of interest. And that way, the market's cooled off since then. The market's cooled off since then. He could have easily sold off those bonds and bought back into Apple at a lower price. So you got to look at the whole grand scheme of things when you see these type of headlines. Don't just look at the headline and not read the whole article. And
Yeah.
don't just look at that one article. You got to look for other articles and tweets and things of that nature. Go on these company websites and things of that nature. That's when you should turn into detective. Oh, why did he do this? Let's try to figure out why. Don't just take, oh, he did this, so what should I do? Or what you think I should do because he did this? You got to turn into a detective and
And
start
it, and
investigating.
Mhm. And if you don't want to put in that legwork and research those individual stocks, what can you do, Prez?
Buy an ETF. Just buy an ETF. If you don't want to play detective and you don't want to look into all of these individual companies, it's like you have to. You have to. That way you'll know how to navigate and you won't have to depend on nobody's else information but your own. You have to. You have to learn how to look at these stocks. Yeah, it's good to get another opinion. Yeah, Prez, what do you think about this company? And I can give you my opinion, but don't take my opinion as your decision. Don't take
Mhm,
anybody else's opinion as your final decision. You the one that gotta make you the one driving this car at the end of the day. You gotta make this
mhm.
decision. But it has to be a good logical decision and it has to make sense for you.
But like if you tune in the Prez, if you share a stock with him, or while he's live, or if you tell him about it ahead of time and he goes over it in one of his live streams, it's not an opinion. Prez is not giving you an opinion. Prez is going to pull up the charts. He's going to look at the PE ratio. He's going to look at some details, some fundamentals of the company. So that's the difference. It's. I would say that that's not an opinion that you're giving. You are trying to give some um, some real detail that they
Hmm.
can go and verify themselves. Some key points, whether it's the particular stock that you're looking at, or if they want to incorporate that onto something that they want to research themselves, you're giving key points um, to build from in order to
Hmm.
make those sound decisions. So I think that's the thing. I could I could say I use whatever product and I think it's a good investment, but that's an opinion with nothing, with no nothing for you to tangible for you
Right.
to go and do some research off of.
It's just merely speculation at that point. Like I like it, so I'm gonna buy it. So I think it's going to the moon. So that's speculation right there.
Hmm. Hmm. Someone making a comment here about having that dry powder ready. So going into the next few months, any insights on having cash available for additional investing if in a downturn? So what percentage would do you have any insights on what you would say to have available in your portfolio? Do
I
you go?
think that would apply to those that are generating more income than your average person, to where as though you can afford to have that cash sitting on the side. You don't have a lot of debt that's haunting you and things of that nature because inflation is real. Times is hard. These prices for everything is super inflated. So coming up with that extra cash may not be feasible for everybody. So I don't want anybody to be sold that dream like I should have this cash sitting on the side and
Mhm.
you not taking care of your own responsibilities. You call yourself making sacrifices so that you can take advantage of this opportunity, but you're going to end up needing this money later on down the line. And next thing you know, you're selling out of positions or you're tapping into your trading account funds and things of that nature. And that's not your work. You're hustling backwards basically when you do things like that. It's like you're setting goals that you know you can't reach no time soon. So you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day, and it's best to just keep it simple until you're able to do more. Just keep it simple.
Yeah. Um, Thank you for that super chat, Trell. Appreciate you. Um, I hear what you're saying, but um, even if you're not 100% sure that it's going to be used for investing, I know me personally, I just got a bonus booster offer in Weeble. So I was
Hmm.
getting 5% APY and they're going to give me an extra 2%. So
Hmm.
I'm at 7%. If you're able to deposit between up to $25,000, from 0 to 25,000, basically, you get an
Hmm.
extra 2%. It's only for a short amount of time, but whether it's just savings in order to gain that extra interest or it's going to be used for investing, I'm definitely trying to take advantage of that higher APY. But
Yeah.
over the next few months, if there is, if my budget allows for it, and there are certain investments that I'm still trying to build up, um, I if certain price points, I'm going to be looking for them in order to add full shares on things where I would normally only do my small um, uh, fractional shares on. So
Right.
I'm the type of investor that, just because I might have $200 to invest, I'm not necessarily just going to buy a share of Apple. I might buy a little bit of Apple, Google, Nvidia, Meta.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much going to spread it out instead of
Mm-hmm.
just putting it all into one particular uh, share of a company, because unless that one company is at a great price point that I've been trying to catch for a while, I'll probably just spread it out, because that's just a method that I just seem to enjoy. Dollar cost averaging, buying fractional shares, it has really shown me that being consistent in that way, you can build up your portfolio. And
Yes, you can.
I always like to continue to share that, because I don't want people to think you have to have a lot of money to get started with investing.
You
And
don't.
yeah, it was a long time ago. Someone made a comment when I was on with Miss V one day, and they were like, "What, $5? I would just put that in my piggy bank." No, it's okay. I will proudly invest $5, $10. My daughter, she had $50 to invest the other day, and that made two of her investments $2.50 on that particular day. I think her uh, Tesla, for example, was a $2.50 investment on that particular day. And I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Um,
I currently have a $5 investment that's up over 49% right now currently. So that $5 is now looking like $7. If I was to sell it today, that's $7.50. That's it's profit. Profit is
mhm.
profit at the end of the day. That's money I didn't have to work for.
Hey,
250, what's that? A soda? I can buy a soda. I don't think I can get a candy bar. I think they three something now, but I think I can get a soda for 250.
barely, barely. Hey, Goga, thanks for tuning in. Goga's live must be over. Look at this Lisa that Goga wrote. My God, oh, he
Mm-hmm.
got he got one for you too. There goes
He
Prez.
said, he said, Prez.
That gentleman that you're always on Sundays with Lisa.
Yeah, he had me laughing. He had me laughing. I love his energy.
Yes, definitely.
I keep saying I'm gonna get me some of them supersized shades and come on my live stream one day. He
He's gonna
said,
he's gonna have them in his what do you call it? In his merch one of these days. He'll have some
yeah,
fun stuff for us. We have to keep checking back to see when he adds them. All right, Prez. Well, we've been going for 1 hour and 17 minutes.
yes.
We
It
went
was
like
an
this.
amazing, it was an amazing show. I really think this topic, and we visited this topic before. For those who don't know, we have talked about this before, but sometimes you gotta being a person alarm, continue to be a person's alarm clock and revisit some of these topics because not everybody's gonna sit through the whole hour and some change and listen to or rewatch this. They're just gonna listen to the first few minutes and then they're on to something else that's more entertaining. So sometimes I feel as though we need to revisit some of these important topics. So I'm glad that we got to revisit this again today.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think a lot of the clickbait titles that we were talking about, they're probably targeted on individual stocks.
Hmm.
Um, but even with crypto, or even with ETFs, whatever it is, just do a little bit of legwork, and not just jump on board with what they're saying, unless they are a content creator like we've highlighted, that is truly painting the big picture for you. When did they invest? What is their strategy, a total strategy? And how long ago was this information? Don't accidentally be watching a video that's a little outdated, and thinking that you're getting in on a good investment when it's things have drastically shifted from when that was recorded. So,
And still look for yourself, even after watching that content. Just don't take their word for it at the end of the day, because we make errors. We're human at the end of the day. What if they presented some sort of news headline that wasn't valid, and they took it as though it was valid, and they presented it to you with no malicious intent, of course, but it was just human error at the end of the day. So it's always good to question everything and double check. Like I just got a comment saying that Home Depot filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and when I looked, I didn't see anything on that. I see that it's one of its competitors that filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and not Home Depot. The first thing that popped in my mind, I looked at my Home Depot position and said, is it finally time to swap this off of Walmart or not? So, and I don't want to sell it and too soon before and have to pay more in capital gains taxes and things of that nature. I like to at least hold my long-term investments past the year mark, so that way I won't be taxed as much. So it's bad enough I trade and I'm going to get taxed anyway. So I try to minimize my tax implications as much as possible because I know I trade daily and I'm in and out of trades daily and things of that nature. So I already know the IRS is going to come knocking at my door at the end of the year, like, yeah, uh, we need you. Do we need this up off of you? So I try to be mindful of things of that nature. So I saw that comment and immediately my antennas went up and I started searching. I searched Google. I went on Yahoo Finance. I went on the actual website. I went to Twitter. I was all over the place, and the only thing that I saw was that it was one of their competitors that recently filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I can't
Okay.
even remember the exact company. I can't remember the exact company, but once I saw it wasn't them, I said, okay, guess I got to hold on to it a little while longer. And it's in profit, believe it or not.
Okay.
She said Home Depot not going anywhere. I don't think so neither. If anything, they'll probably close a few stores here and there because of the current state of the economy, or we're doing bad in the economy, and they just gotta, cut some overhead costs. But I don't see them going anywhere.
So
Who's gonna take that place? Lowe's.
well, your choice in investing into Home Depot instead of Walmart has worked out better for you than my choice of my two that I might have done Walmart instead of my. Well, I'll just say Target because that's more in line with.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wish I would have chose Walmart instead of Target. But you always jokingly say that you were down to that day when you were trying to decide and you went with Home Depot instead of Walmart.
I still wish I would have went with Walmart, but it is what it is. I'm in profit. It's still a good. Both of them are excellent companies. They
Mhm.
just do different things, but they're good. A lot of the economy is based off of the performance of these two companies. Believe it or not, people going into spending on consumer discretionary versus how much are they spending at Walmart on groceries and things of that nature. So when that earnings reports come out, a lot of eyes are on the performance of those two companies, as well as FedEx and UPS and companies like that.
Okay, okay. So Prez, can you give us a little a last closing station break before we get ready to wrap up? And I want to say again, thank you to Sweet Thumb and Trell for the super chats. Appreciate you.
Sure. Be sure to tune into us every Sunday right here on either one of our channels, on both of our channels, whichever one you choose. It don't matter. Every Sunday at 3 p.m.
You can
And
watch both. You can watch on
yeah,
both
you can
sides.
watch both on two different devices if you want. Like, if you really want to be helpful. So, with that being said, if you would like to see more of my content, you can subscribe to my channel at Prez the Investor. I do go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. for basic overall market watch. And if I see an opportunity for a short-term trade, then I will do so on camera. And I recommend you learn how to trade before you try to follow along and things of that nature. And then lately I've been coming on those same days at 3:15 p.m. to go over individual stock companies if you're interested in learning about how to evaluate companies and looking for yourself and getting my overall judgment on these individual companies, then you can tune in there as well. But either way, make sure you have your notification bell on for both of us because you never know when we may decide to pop up and do a live stream or put out some content that's important or something like that.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Frugal Mama for being here. Thank you Curvy, Goga, everyone who came through today. They're ready to see you tomorrow, Prez. Eddie said he'd see
Yes.
you tomorrow morning. I will see you tomorrow morning also. I've been having a meeting that's I think 9 or 9:30, but I try to tune in. Um, And if anyone is ready to open a new investment account, Prez and I both have our links to platforms that we use in our description. So check them out. We'll both get free stock and you'll be supporting the channel. So thanks for tuning in, and we will be back again with our Stock Talk episode next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you will also catch us throughout the week. So we'll see you soon. All right. Take care. Any last words, Prez?
If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die.